Hey everyone, welcome. So, have you ever had that feeling that you're just a little bit out of place, like you're not quite where you belong? Well, today we're going to dive into this really simple but honestly profound idea about finding our true home, the place where we can really thrive. Let's just start by thinking about life itself. I mean, it's really just a string of choices, isn't it? Every single day, we're kind of standing at a crossroads between these powerful opposing forces, and we have to decide which way to go. You see this pull everywhere. The most classic example, of course, is that choice between good and evil. And then you've got the biggest one of all, right? The ultimate contrast between life and death. It even boils down to those small daily decisions. Are we going to go with the truth, or are we going to bend it a little? Are we choosing honesty or a lie? So, what does all this mean? It means our future isn't just locked in. It's like we're holding a double-edged sword, you could say. And the direction we point it, the choices we make, that's what carves out the future we end up with. Okay, so if our choices are that important, how in the world do we know where we're even supposed to be? Well, for that, let's take a look at the natural world. It gives us this really beautiful picture of what it means to belong. So there's this really fascinating pattern in the creation story. When God wanted to create fish, think about it. He didn't speak to the sky or to the land. Nope. He spoke directly to the sea. He spoke to their home. And we see the exact same thing with trees. When he wanted to create trees, where did he speak? To the earth, to the very ground that was going to be their source of life and help them grow. Okay, so we're seeing a pattern here. Fish in the sea, trees in the earth. So what does that tell us about us, about where we were meant to thrive? This is where it gets really interesting, because when it was time to create man, to create us, the pattern breaks. Something totally different happens. God didn't speak to the earth. He didn't speak to the sea. He turned and he spoke to himself. And right there, in that one moment, this huge truth is revealed. It's so simple. Let us make man in our image. Wow. That tells us we're different from everything else. We were made from God himself, in his own likeness. So let that sink in. A fish needs water to live. A tree needs soil. It's their environment. Well, for us, God is our natural environment. We were literally created to live in his presence. That's where we belong. But what happens when we leave that environment, right? Because if we know where we belong, we also have to understand what it costs us when we get disconnected from it. I mean, the logic is super simple. You can't really argue with it. Take a fish out of the water, what happens? It dies. Pull a tree out of the ground, it dies too. So it follows when we disconnect ourselves from God, we die. It's a spiritual death, but it's just as real. This table really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? Think about it. The water is still water even if there are no fish in it. The soil is still soil without the tree. And God, well, God is still God without us. But us? What are we without God? We're a fish without water, a tree without soil. We're completely cut off from our source of life. Okay, so that's a pretty powerful idea to chew on. Now, let's bring this home and make it personal for us, right here. Let's take a few minutes and actually reflect on this as a group. So as we get into our discussion time, let's just keep this one main idea right at the front of our minds. We were created to live in his presence. That's our design. Our deepest purpose, everything we're looking for, is found right there, in staying connected to him. So for our first question together, how do you actually experience God as your natural environment in your day-to-day life? At work, with your family, maybe in those quiet moments by yourself. When do you feel most at home with him? Let's just open it up and take some time to share. And to wrap up our time, let's get really practical. Now that we know just how crucial this connection is, what are some actual, real steps we can take, say, this week to make sure we stay rooted in him? Let's share some ideas, encourage each other. Thanks so much for diving into this with me today.